Election time in midterm elections are coming up, but you got a primary coming up right now. And I registered to vote by mail in my county. And I would advise it because the new variant of COVID 19 is popping in, and it could be bad by the time that thing, all the new cases are coming up. Those who've not been vaccinated for anything are contracting this stuff, and they're carriers. And how deadly this thing is, it could be deadly, especially for children. So I register with the county for that. Every year I get a new my voting card, from the county, but I register to get it by mail. It's very easy. And why do I want it by mail? There's a plague going on. Yes, there's a plague going on. Now I know it's hard for the county to find volunteers um, to sit on maybe 12 hours to sit in a location, even though they pay them a couple $100. And uh, yeah, and remember March of 2020 when I voted, that thing, and places were shutting down because of that. A lot of polling places never opened because people were afraid to go there. They wouldn't wear a mask. They didn't have gloves, and but the local place that I voted in, the people had gloves and masks. Something the county put in very fast. Um, but in like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, um, polling places didn't open, and those few that did, they didn't have enough volunteers in there. Well, I've heard that the Republicans showed up, but the Democrats didn't. Hey, what are you gonna do? So voting by mail is easy. It's um, if you think it's the ballot, the mailboxes are being stuffed, go to the post office. Yeah, or if you think it's being stuffed, go to your bank. In your my bank, uh, there's a box there, outgoing mail. So put it in that, you know, and a mailman will come along and pick it up. If you happen to live in a neighborhood that's dangerous and you can't trust your local thing because the Democrats will stuff it, yeah, try that. See if that really works. If you really don't trust the elections coming up, by means, um, volunteer. Get your $200 a day and volunteer to sit out in there, and say hello to your neighbors. Yeah, you know, what they have done is, well, I heard the last time, uh, they actually went out there and paid high school students to sit there because the adults were too afraid. Us old folks were too afraid. I'm not afraid. I just don't want to be there. Why? At my age, it's that unvaccinated American Republican who decides that God is going to protect them and not going to get vaccinated and is going to work in here with a very possibly carrying a plague or something else. Oh, no, no, no. Until this plague is over, or this, as Mother Nature would say, until I get rid of all these stupid Republicans. Um, but again, vote by mail. It's simple. They to me in our county, they will mail it to me and tell them that I have mailed it to them, and then when I mail it back, they will send me an email saying they received it. And then what happens on election night? Well, They don't start counting the ballots until the polling across the state are closed. Donald Trump found that out. When I won the election, all these people voted for me. But where did the other ones come from? Election night? They're not counted ahead of time. They're counted at that time. And if you ever counted ballots, paper ballots, it can be rough. And I belong to a society that once used to give out 5,000 paper ballots a year for new board members. And I'd be one of the people counting them. And they said, well, how is that? Because I am appointed my position on the board. I'm not elected to my position on the board. And one of the things about that, and it's very funny, is that the day that we at 12 noon, everybody had to get their ballots in. We were getting ballots 2 days after that. Of course, they were all void. But, you know, like, you got a month to sign it, you know, put your little check mark, sign it, turn it in, mail it back. You know, there's a pre-postage mailing envelope in it. And what happened? We were getting them back, you know, two days after the time, you know, counting ballots. And anything comes after in 12 o'clock, mailman got it to us, and one thing. And I'm quite sure it's the same thing with mail-in ballots for the primary and the regular election, is they get mail-in ballots after, you know, if they're not there at a certain time, they're not going to be counted. Yeah. What are you going to do? Well, I saw all these ballots sitting over there. Those are the ones that came in the next day. You know, those are the ones that can't be counted because those are the ones that came in late. You're supposed to mail this stuff in. I guess we have stupid Republicans. What are you going to do? And it's very important. I will say it's very important by something else about this election. Considering the fate of your daughter, let's say your daughter is 18 years old. Well, let's say she's in high school and she goes to a party and she gets drugged. She gets pregnant. And the ultrasonic takes of your child and it looks like kid's really screwed up. The baby, the fetus is really screwed up. And they do ultrasonics of babies are really screwed up. Well, missing an arm, missing a leg, missing part of the head. Oh, you see, a heart defect. You know what a heart defect for an unborn baby costs? You want to start 6 figures? And how many insurance companies will not honor that? Remember the measles? My God, you want your daughter to have measles before she's of reproduction age. Why? Because you have an immunity against measles. As I said, this is a very important election. It basically, it's the future of your daughter. Future is rest on these elections, because as someone says, Roe versus Wade, they're going to eliminate that. What else can they eliminate? Why, it's not in the original Constitution. Neither is the women's right to vote in the original Constitution. Think about that. Or think of it this way. Compare this election to the Taliban. We spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan to bring the people out of the 8th century to the 21st century. Last, September 1st, they slipped back into the 8th century. Women don't vote anymore in Afghanistan. All women are required to wear the burqa. All women who go out are required to have a male with them. All women are required to not to go to school. They're not going to school. Why, of course the Taliban said they're going to go to school. No, they're not. Oh, they're going to go to school and learn how to read the Quran. That's the only book that's going to be allowed. Great deal. Wow. So every female in Afghanistan has lost everything. Can it happen here? Oh, it happened in the 1930s in Germany. Can it happen here? You know, Trump was you know, Mike Pence could have said on January 6th, not only we're going to say that Joe Biden won the election, uh, Mike Pence could have said, I'm doing a coup d'etat against Trump. Wow. So these elections are important. Yes, yeah. And get in there, vote. If you want to physically walk in there, do it. Definitely do it. And if you vote by mail, do it. And if you want to do better than that, become volunteer to be a paid um, election judge. Well, it's up to you. It's your daughter's, your granddaughter's, your great granddaughter's future. You got a choice. Your vote counts.